This sode would not be possible without the support of our listeners, patrons, and sponsors. If you'd like to find out more about supporting the 3-Bit Gamer Show, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/3BG. And a major shout out goes out to our boss level patrons, Christopher, Patrick, and Skylar.
Hey man, how's it going?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
Honestly, not great. You ever get that feeling like, I don't know, you're coming down with
A cold. Yeah, I got that right now.
No, not like a cold, more like
A headache, like with tinnitus. Yeah, definitely, dude. I've got that too.
Oh, well, it's not that bad. It's less in my head and more like in
your legs. Yeah, might have been way achy this entire spring. Is that what you've got?
You know what? I'm actually feeling a lot better now.
Oh, nice. Good for you, man.
You just logged into the 3-Bit Gamer Show. It's so realistic because you literally said. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. This is JD.
This is Peterson.
I don't know.
And it's been a strange last few weeks.
You guys are lucky we're here. Okay, we burned through our backup episode. That should tell you something.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We burned through the backup episode. That happened. That was when JD was flying solo with Trent and Jenna, and I was nowhere to be seen. So it's been months. So yeah.
Yeah. So if
That's
you guys hear a backup episode, your first question should be, "Is this guy's okay?"
Oh, great. What's wrong with Peterson?
Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news.
All right, our news this week, as with all weeks, is brought to us by Crave Cookies. Crave Cookies is this awesome cookie shop here in Utah, the state of Utah, currently soon to be free of the bounds of the borders of the state of Deseret. Trent, you got to go to this. CraveCookies.com. I was showing this to my coworkers because, long story, and I'll tell you if you hit me up on Discord, Trent helped me out at work with some Crave cookies recently, and I was showing this to my coworkers, and I put it together. You guys, Trent has a Cinco de Mayo menu this week. I didn't get it.
You didn't get it? Oh, yeah.
I get it now. I wasn't that tuned in. I'm so sorry. Peterson, I feel like you do themed meals all the time. Like you're always looking at the holidays.
I just think it's fun, right? I like to cook, and so I'm like, Cinco de Mayo came up. I'm making Cinco de Mayo stuff, and I wore the shirt that I wear once a year, a Mexico soccer jersey that someone gave me. Cinco de Mayo.
I gotta get a picture of that. That's awesome. I can picture it in my head.
Yeah, yeah, you know exactly what it looks like.
I know. Yeah, I can picture Peterson in a Mexican soccer jersey.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I used to have a boss that was obsessed with holidays because she liked decorating her house and like dressing her kids up. But you are obsessed with holidays because it gives you an excuse to like try other cultures' food and cuisine and cooking. I think that's awesome. Trent is, taking on obviously traditional Mexican cuisine here at Crave Cookies with the horchata churro, the coco de leche.
Coco de leche.
Mm-hmm. It's also got the Biscoff cheesecake and the Rockstar and the Rocky Road this week. Guys, go to Crave Cookies and get your cookies on. Twitch is exploring ways to reduce how much they pay creators in order to increase company revenue. Dude, you gotta have. That's the one thing you gotta do is increase revenue, right?
Okay, guys. Earnings were only up 15% this last quarter. We got to figure out a way to get them to keep continuing in an upward direction. Give me ideas. Go. Someone in the boardroom is like, I don't know. We a lot of money goes towards paying the creators on the site, these hot tub girls or whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
And can we just penny pinch on that? And like, penny pinch, get out of here. We're gonna take half. So I think, isn't that what they said? It was at 50-50 now, something like that. That's what they're looking at.
Yeah. The thing is listening to you just like kind of describe that whole scene is so funny, because anyone that's familiar with Newsies, the 1992
Yeah.
Disney hit musical film starring Christian Bale, and
the only
there is a scene where Robert Duvall as Joseph Pulitzer is literally just saying what Peterson's talking about, but with the newsboys. Yeah. And they're looking for like how he can make a little bit more profit over his competing newsmen in throughout New York. And that's what he decides is like, well, let's cut some out from the Newsies because there's some money down there to be made.
And it's so crazy because this is the crux of what Twitch is creators on there.
Yeah.
Especially popular creators on there, driving traffic to their website. That's what it is. That's what the business is. Just like in Newsies, right? That was a big piece of the business, getting the newspapers out to the public, getting them sold.
That was the distribution.
Yeah, this product they're selling is creators making content on their own. That's what Twitch is selling, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna take more from them because they don't I don't like, it's crazy. That's the group you should be pandering to, not the group you should be biting the hand that feeds you, essentially, because if they start losing major creators, they start losing traffic to the website, and then that's how you kill a website.
Well, more so when they start losing major creators, and you mentioned the pay cut, which is this is we have to say this is currently under consideration.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't being implemented, and this was in fact leaked by some members of the staff at Twitch who didn't want
probably
to be
guys who were like, this is a terrible idea.
Yes.
How do we get ahead of this?
Yeah, which I'm like, dude, and I guess Bloomberg is happy to play the patsy in the middle between some workplace drama at Twitch.
Yeah.
Because that's literally what they're doing. Do you not understand that's what your role is here? Is you are, while you may be telling yourself you are serving the greater good by helping these streamers by, like you said, getting out ahead of this. And I'm sure the employees are telling themselves that too. Ultimately, this is a spat at work that spilled into the press, which is just being used to further the one side of that workplace spat.
Yeah.
Really weird. I
think it's a bad decision, though.
Yeah, I feel like we don't get into that. But this is, I think, what you're talking about is that top streamers leave the platform and people stop watching. The bigger thing to me is what, and Jenna and I talked about this the other day. You're probably very familiar with this. One of the biggest things about Twitch is not that there are a lot of people watching, there are a lot of content creators, but there are 1,000,001 people who want to be streamers and who want to be creating content and who look at these top echelon people and see how much the ungodly amounts of money they're making, like tens of millions of dollars monthly. Mm-hmm. Like that's the type yacht. These people are making yacht money, fucking spaceship money. And the people that kids that their number one profession they want to be as an influencer or a streamer now, that's the value of Twitch. And if you start taking that away by decentivizing these streamers who are working like 12 hours a day and they can't go on vacation, because if they go on vacation their subscribers dip. And now Twitch is taking this money out of their subscriber fee. So instead of making 70% of what subscribers give you, which I think is fair. If I am giving somebody $10, and I find out they're only getting $5 of it, I'm pissed, and I'm not giving him $10
crazy.
anymore. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That is not good charity. That's like if you go to the grocery store, they're like, hey, you want to round up 80 cents for charity? And I'm like, sure. How much of that goes to charity? They're like 8 cents. 72 goes to advertising this and working with and spreading this I'm like, what the fuck? No, I don't want to give 80 cents. I don't want to give you guys 72 cents.
Just cuz.
And that's exactly what I think people will catch on to with this. The flip side is that Twitch, because they know this program would just explode their user base. So they're saying, well, in exchange, you guys, we're going to release these partners, these high echelon partners, and you guys can go on YouTube or Facebook, which is kind of like a mocking thing. Like, yeah, you guys want to go out
go on one of those sites
to the wastelands, go stream in the wastelands and enjoy nobody watching you. Ultimately, I don't know where this is going to end up. Like we both pointed out, this is just workplace bullshit.
Right now,
Twitch.
it's just something that, like a boardroom conversation.
Yeah.
But it is, I would say, a Blursty watch item for a worse decision if Twitch decided to go forward with this.
You're right, because this decision hasn't been made, but it's absolutely on Blursty watch.
So now we know if they make this public in like October, November, this was Blursty bait.
Also, to the employees who leaked this to Bloomberg, ultimately, in an effort to put this in front of our eyes, now you have it. Now you have the ultimate trump card that you were hoping to play to the board, which is that you are at risk of being nominated for a Blursty.
Yep. Yeah, they should say that. They should use that for sure.
Dragon Age 4 QA developers say they are unionizing over bad pay and COVID safety. We won't linger too much on this. This is just another studio unionizing. This is so crazy to watch. And I just feel like I have to do this because it's like Peterson Stradamus who had said this like a litany for
more and
years.
More. Yep.
That they're asking for it. They're begging for it. And here it is. All the unions you could ever ask for.
The game companies execs have been dying for this, apparently.
They've been fighting for it.
And you know what's interesting? I was on a call today for work, and it's called the Non-Union Consortium, where they talk about like essentially data in the marketplace that is showing who is unionizing, how they're unionizing,
sure,
how easy it is, how hard it is, or whatever, based on political climate.
Yeah.
So it's just talking about facts about unionization for
like
us to be aware of. Yeah. It's just what's the risk of unionization. That's essentially what it is. So, and it was interesting because they spent a lot of time talking about tech companies are looking at unionizing, and it's not just blue collar folks doing the unionizing anymore. How easy it is to unionize right now, lots of stuff like that. So that was very interesting because they didn't mention gaming specifically, because the big ones are like Amazon, Starbucks, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's coming, and you'd be hard pressed outside of Amazon to find a workplace where the employees are treated so poorly as they are in video game development. So, I said,
wild.
I think these groups like Amazon, these groups like Starbucks, are really paving a way, so to speak, because they are doing things slightly differently, and they are making it a slightly easier for other folks to unionize. So, look, we're just going to see it more and more. I think it's too late. I think we are where we are. I think if a company is good enough to turn it around, those are the ones that are not going to be fighting the union as hard anyway, as you've seen. Mm-hmm. Some companies have said, hey, if you guys want to unionize, we're not going to get in your way, right? I think it doesn't matter. I think it's too late. I think it's...
Dude, no, we are way... You're right. We're way over the Rubicon here, because ultimately, like at this point, it's FOMO. If you are if you're an employee in a shitty company where you're being abused and you're watching everyone else unionize, you're like, fuck, guys, we got to get on this. Those conversations, we are talking about them. Those conversations happened months, if not years ago.
Yep.
They've been happening. They've been ongoing. You know who at each and every one of these studios is the rabble rouser who's grumbling and grousing the most, who's keeping a tally of percentage of people who might be interested in something like this.
Yep.
That's going on everywhere.
This is open
There's
the
no
gates and
stopping
seize the day, right?
Yeah, dude, can we just do... Where's fucking Trent? Get back here and sing some more
start
newsies.
Singing.
So yeah, I'll just run down this briefly. This is a BioWare Studios. This is a studio they contract their QA from Keyword Studios. They've supported Mass Effect Legacy Edition and then Star Wars The Old Republic, Legacy of the Sith. They filed a application with the Alberta Labor Relations Board. So this is a Canadian union, a Canadian company. This would only be like 15 to 20 testers and analysts, but you know, it's not nothing, because for this company, it's probably the bulk of their testing.
Well, micro unions like this are the foot in the door. That's essentially how it starts.
Yep.
So,
and it's all about the process, because if this union fails and everything goes, and these 15 to 20 testers, they scatter to the industry, well, now they have all this knowledge of how to do this, how to start this, and now that's out there.
Yep.
This all came from an announcement from Keyword Studios that everyone would need to return to the office 5 days a week, starting in on May 9th. So a little bit after this episode publishes. How did that work out for you guys? Is everyone coming back to the office, or are they unionizing? So Keyword staff doesn't have PTO. So the idea of going back to the office when there's 1,000 cases a day still being reported in Alberta is not super appealing. And then BioWare employees on the other side are still work from home, and they still have obviously PTO and all these benefits and stuff. So the final cherry on top, if you're sitting here thinking, well, JD, they're just lowly QA testers.
It's just Canada. It barely counts.
Not valuable, and it's just Canada. Let me tell you this. They're making $13 an hour. That's $16.50 Canadian. And guys, $13 an hour. And this is like the things that you're demanding of them. Like, come, like, potentially get fucking COVID testing video games 12 hours a day for $13 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, no thank you.
$13 an hour is not going to cut it.
And then just like as an aside, they're like, yeah, there's also probably some serious gender pay disparity issues, but like, we'll get to those.
We're not there yet. We haven't run the data.
Even fucking
we're just
there
assuming.
Yet.
We're just assuming at this point because it's probably correct.
Yeah. So there you have it. Another union, and we have this later in the doc, but I'll just do this now. The very first Australian video game union was formed late last month. This is called Game Workers Unite. It is a volunteer-run that's kind of tight. A volunteer-run advocacy organization founded in 2018. They will become the Game Workers Australia, which is a 360-member group, which is part of a larger Professionals Australia, which is an 18,000-member union, which represents engineers, IT staff, and stuff. So we got them everywhere now. This is Canada. This is Australia, the United States. They should have listened to this podcast.
Some of them were, but you know,
most of them were just too busy being dickheads.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing simpler than saying they're just a bunch of dickheads. After releasing Sonic Origins, Sega is delisting Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Sonic CD on digital storefronts.
Like, okay, I guess we should have seen this coming, but also,
man,
like, come on, guys.
Lame.
Yeah, especially after that weird pricing situation,
dude. That's the biggest frustration here for me. And I think most of these on Steam, so I'm not super concerned. And a couple of them will still be available through like weird exceptions on like the Sega Genesis store on the Switch store or whatever. But most part, like you will have to be going through the Origins, which is like they've taken 4 games that on Steam would honestly go down to like $2 or $3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is not to say that Sega wanted to sell them for that. That is how much they cost, and that is how much they could sell on Steam because that is what people would pay for them.
Dude,
that's what they had to reduce them down to get me to buy them.
Right. If I see any Sonic game, and I'm like, oh man, you know what, kids? We used to love playing Sonic on the Sega Genesis. Let's go find one, and I see it for $30. I'm like, okay.
How about $45? Dude, that's the thing. They're like, we're putting 4 games in here. It's $45. I'm like, no, you guys are being ridiculous. And now you're pulling these ones down, and it's like, guys,
this is so crazy.
I want to love Sega, but their forays into exploiting people is really been sloppy and ugly, man. The pachinko machines, they made them sloppy.
They made them sloppy. So the other thing, which I thought was funny, because you mentioned Sonic, and we're talking about all this. I saw my son Ryan playing Sonic, and I was like, "Where is he? What is on the Xbox?" And I was like, "Where did you get this?" And it looked like a Sonic game. He was playing it in Roblox. Someone had made Sonic in Roblox, and he was just spinning around, zipping around, and I legit thought it was a Sonic game.
Dude, that's the funniest shit.
Isn't that hilarious? So now, if you want to play Sonic and you don't want to pay $45, go get it in Roblox. Of all places,
it blows my mind.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying. Is like, you got to present value. The value of Sonic is that it's free in Roblox. That's how much people want to play Sonic in current year. Sorry. Especially old Sonic games like that. That's not what people are demanding right now. And you guys aren't putting anything new forward with this. I think we mentioned they made a couple new levels and a couple challenges. And I'm like, get the fuck out. That's nothing.
Yeah, that's not that. Yeah, exactly. That's nothing. What do you like?
You guys could have spent, honest to God, you could have spent 4 weeks and come up with an algorithm to generate a new level, like a randomly generated Sonic level for each of the worlds in the first Sonic game, and people could have an infinite Sonic level. That took me 2 fucking seconds to think of it. Honest to God, would take an engineer, a talented senior level engineer, 4 weeks to do that. And you guys could have put that in the fucking game. And that alone would have maybe helped justify it being $20.
Yeah, I was gonna say 45 is
45
insane.
No, a game better make me a sandwich. Every time I boot it, it presents a sandwich to me.
Like, and honestly, that's kind of the point I'm at. If I'm gonna spend $45 on a game, I better know that it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be incredible. There was a lot of work put into this. I'm gonna spend at least 20 to 30 hours in it. Yeah, I'm not seeing that.
Not from this one.
Nope.
Russia made up a Ukrainian assassination plot that somehow involved wigs, a folded Nazi flag, and hard copies of the Sims 3 expansions.
Okay,
most devious of all.
Before we get too deep into this, I just want to put out the caveat that we're just reporting the news. Okay, so our Russian hacker that is listening to us live does not need to intervene.
You think they have money for to pay their hackers anymore? Dude, their internet's fucking cut off. That was the first thing to go, was our Russian hacker, and he's like, what about the 3-bits?
And they're like, they're gone. 3-bit gone.
3-bit gone or show. So this is a staged video of a supposed Russian sting operation on a group of Ukrainian assassins who were there to assassinate Russian journalists. Guys, no one is assassinating Russian journalists except for Vladimir Putin. Like, who the fuck?
Yeah, he's the only one who's going after Russian journalists.
All the other people are encouraging Russian journalists. Like, come on, do something. So Putin said that the state media figure Vladimir Solovyov was the plot's target. And they had this is a Peterson. I guess I'll do my best to read. This is from Putin. They have resorted to terror, to preparing the murders of our journalists. I can't do it.
It's hard. Where is this
Here,
quote?
I'll send you this.
I'm looking at the article right now. I don't see the quote. JB.
I'll send you this on Discord, and you can read this because basically Putin claims that
they have resorted to. No, hold on. They have resorted to terror.
There you
go. To preparing the. I can't do it. The murders of our journalists. We know by name the curators of Western secret services, primarily. Of course, the CIA. Yeah. This is
long story short. Putin is really he is personally addressing this plot. Like he's taking time out of his day to be like, this is a huge deal that
everyone needs to know about this.
And when they release these pictures and this video of this sting operation, they've got a couple things. So they've got a bag of wigs, which everyone knows. Who has watched an Angelina Jolie action movie? Wigs are the number one thing assassins have.
So many
their
wigs.
Kit.
Also,
wigs and little guns.
The wigs in this image are not great. This looks like a Halloween land.
Well, they're being stored in plastic bags. No, these aren't good wigs. And then a Nazi. They say it's a Nazi flag, but that is clearly a shirt.
It's a T-shirt.
It's a T-shirt with a crease.
It has
straight
a crease
down the middle,
like they had just
literally never
been opened
used.
it up.
There's no way this has been worn.
Nope. This was brand new in the package.
And then another T-shirt that looks like maybe a punk rock T-shirt.
What does it say?
Book.
Anti-System Fighter.
And then 3 copies of the Sims 3 expansion packs. This is no hard copies of the Sims, but we've got the outdoor living stuff, Master Suite stuff, and the Sims 3 Seasons. As any assassin knows, Sims 3 Seasons has all of the knowledge you need.
Dude,
to kill Russian state media figures.
That's where they they communicate with each other in Sims 3 expansion.
Dude, look, dude, I'm sitting in Kiev. And my dog, Nazi Zelensky, is like, dude, I need you to go assassinate some Russian state media people. And I'm like, okay, that's great because I'm a Nazi. And Nazi Zelensky's like, yes, that's been clearly stated. But just in case, when you go to Moscow, I need you to pack a fresh new Nazi T-shirt, a few Nazi books. And you know what? Do not forget your portrait of Adolf Hitler, because they just find a portrait of Adolf Hitler. And I just love that, like, these assassins were like, you know what? I'm here in Moscow. I'm killing Russians. I'm serving, I guess, Nazi Ukraine, whatever the fuck that is. And you're like, but I do want to feel at home. I do want to establish all my memorabilia.
Yeah, that's the best part. It's a computer, right? And there's literally taped up on a speaker just a picture of Adolf Hitler, like, just so I don't forget who my boy is.
That's my guy. I like to just look at him. Like, you can't just put him up as your desktop background, but you have like a hard copy
taped onto your computer
picture of Hitler. And not to forget, the 3 most Nazi things ever is The Sims 3.
Various expansions.
Master Suite stuff, outdoor living stuff, and Seasons.
Yes.
I'm at a loss. I don't know.
I love it.
So, long story short, I don't think our Russian hackers, I don't think he's being funded anymore. Because this is the type of stuff that the stuff their president, the operations their president is highlighting directly, personally, this is the quality of the stuff he's putting out. Yikes.
I did think for a second this would have been photos of our hacker because of the video games, but we don't play The Sims, so it's not us.
It would have been funny if he had like Adolf Hitler and then like a 3-bit gamer show sticker.
I'd have been like, oh,
we made it! It's
we're
us!
Famous, I guess.
It's like us and The Sims and Adolf Hitler, and you're like, yeah, that's enough. You know what? Run it on Russian
checking
today.
All
this
the boxes.
Is great. This checks all the boxes. Email this to Putin because we're ready to wrap on this.
Straight to Putin and then tweet it for sure. Like Twitter's the place for this.
The Prince of Persia remake has usurped Skull and Bones as my favorite new delayed game to follow. Another Ubisoft joint. I'm so
killing it, Ubisoft.
Happy about this. Okay, so you guys know Ubisoft has been struggling for close to a decade to get a spin-off of Assassin's Creed Black Flag out the door called Skull and Bones. Ubisoft Shanghai took a big chunk of cash from the Chinese government to make this game, and now they're shackled to it as it drags them into the depths down to Davy Jones' locker.
Mm-hmm.
But they're pulling that out. Maybe we will see Skull and Bones, I guess.
They have seen there was gameplay leaked of it.
But
yeah,
not to disappoint, Ubisoft is like, hey, I know you guys all enjoy the metagame of watching us fuck up game releases. The latest is a game release I wasn't even aware of. Who even asked for this? The Prince of Persia remake? The Sands of Time. This is, I guess, a huge game way back in the day. I played it. I played the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Have I thought of them since?
No.
Were they seminal titles? No. Did they bring anything new to the genre that like has really revolutionized or been borrowed since? No. So the fact that they're remaking it is pretty weird, but this is the funniest fucking timeline. Did you look through this?
Yeah, I'm looking through it right now, too.
Oh, my God. So this is so funny. So I'm just going to go through this whole thing, get you guys caught up, and then I feel like we are going to be following this for a year or more. Hopefully more.
That's the dream.
Honest to God. That's the dream. So September 10th, 2020, so after 6 months of the pandemic, they give this game a January 21st release date. January 21st of last year, 2021. They're like, this is going to be it. Like, we're going to get this game out in 3 months. 3 months and 10 days, correct? Have I got that math right?
Yeah, you guys are going to see this soon.
Here, it's on the horizon.
So again,
2 months
they're
later,
announcing it in September 2020, saying it's going to be out in January 2021.
That's the first release date, January 2020, which the proximity to the announcement is what I want you guys to focus on, because they thought this game was 4 months away. 2 months later, they announced the game has been pushed to March 18th. So they've now pushed it 2 months. So 2 months later, they're like, okay, the game is still 4 months away.
We haven't worked on it at all since we last announced it.
0 months of progress.
So we have to push back. Push it
In
back
fact, we've made negative
equal
progress.
Amount of time.
It's crazy. We went backwards. So we get to we're getting up against the wire, and people are losing sleep. People are having stomach problems. People are going to the doctor for medication for stomach problems because of their stupid fucking job, because one dumb shit at the top is too much of a coward to delay this game until February 5th. So this is now a month and a couple days away.
Yep.
And they're like, nope, we can't.
It's like 6 weeks away.
We can't. We gotta push it out. We gotta push it out. And they just don't even say.
Mm-mm.
So at that point, the people are like, thanks. Thanks for pushing that out. Fun fact, still have the ulcers. I'm still shitting blood. Thank you so fucking much for that, though. For delaying the delay as much as you possibly could.
This is even like a high profile project either that like is worth it. You know what I mean?
No, this isn't worth any of the announcements they've been making. So we get to June. Remind you guys, we don't have a release date now. And we are in June, we are now 7 months away from where they thought they would be done 4 months ago. And they say the account says they're not going to, so they're like not going to show it at their next event. And that's not even an update. So we get to October of last year and they just pull out and say, hey, we're just reassuring you. No one cares. No one's looking for reassurance. No one's looking for the initial assurance. No assurance needed. No one gives a shit.
It says the development of Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake is still underway, and it is inspired by your feedback. There is no feedback. Nobody's talking about this. Is that what is inspiring?
To?
Yeah.
This is like where the doctor puts his arm around the guy and he's like, all right, Jeffrey, we need you to sit back down and take your medicine. There's no one over there.
Somebody did a press conference at their office and did not invite any press. He's just sitting there by himself doing a press conference.
Just gesticulating wildly, gesturing as much as he can. And he's like, we're so excited that you guys are as excited as we are. And he pauses for comments and no one says anything.
No one's even there. Then like a couple younger guys look in the room into the window and they're like, who's he talking to? What's going on? And like, oh, I don't know. It's Prince of Persia. We ignore them.
Yeah. So the latest that we've got, and these are all, by the way, every single thing is coming from their Twitter feed, which is just like this sad Twitter feed.
Yep.
And so the latest update just came out in just 2 days ago. And it was that it will be the development has moved to Ubisoft Montreal because I think it was being developed originally by Ubisoft Mumbai. And they just moved it, didn't finish it.
Yeah.
And that's it. So I guess to me, the game's, for the most part, the iteration that they were working on is dead. And I just am so fucking curious what state that game must have been in September of 2020 that they thought they were 4 months away.
They were right there. Like that's like right there. That's like
dude, you guys are ready to ship at 4 months.
Yeah. Now we're just doing some patching, doing some bug fixes. Like the game is pretty much ready. Nope. Yeah,
what happened over the next year and a half that pushed them farther and farther and farther away every single time?
We don't even have a date now. Like, this is crazy.
No date. Well, they've gone backwards because they've moved studios.
Yeah, this thing. So look, it's the other funny thing is in this article, it does mention Skull and Bones. And then the other one we never talk about, but the Ubisoft has another one of these, JD, and that's the Beyond Good and Evil sequel. Are you did you ever play Beyond Good and Evil?
No, but I know the sequel's not coming out.
Oh my gosh, dude, they announced it in 2008. A couple years ago, probably 2-3 years ago, they did like a teaser video at maybe E3. And it was like a cinematic, but that was it. And they said there is no indication of if this game is even actually being worked on or not. They say it is, but
there's no way these idiots are going to be able to fend off a hostile takeover.
Yeah, like
it's going to happen in the next year. It's a year to 18 months.
Yeah. Ubisoft had a good, like, what is it, like 2000 or 2019, 2020, that time they were doing really, really well. It seems like their last couple years has been honestly kind of quiet.
Well, that's the difference. When they were doing well, their bread and butter was what? Releasing 1 billion fucking games all the time, pumping out games, Assassin's Creed games, Far Cry games, just nonstop pumping Laura or whatever games they could in these different genres that they had, or these different franchises that they had. But now these franchises, they can't even get out their like top level game, and then they go back to the well and they're like, oh, we'll do Prince of Persia. How much is like that cost? Like 18 months plus all the lead up time before they even made that announcement, probably years. So we're looking at 3 years of development costs for a game that legit at this point is like, come on, they're going back to the drawing board. They'll take that code, but they're shipping this code across this whole game development across the ocean to a completely different like set of developers who are going to be doing things their own way and probably not going to use a ton of the stuff they built. Oh my God, it's so crazy. Ubisoft's going to get sold. PlayStation has apparently set up a new game preservation team. Or one guy. This is coming from one guy, Garrett Fredley.
That's a fake name. So
I know it's
not actually happening.
He's not a full Fred. He's just Fred-ish. He's Fredly. Yeah. He's Fred-like. He's Fred adjacent.
Yeah.
Garrett Fredley, he was working as a build engineer for a mobile developer in Canada, has joined PlayStation as a senior build engineer for their game preservation team. He was posting all about this on like LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever. So that's basically what this came from. Was him just crowing about how stoked he was about this job and this opportunity. So that's like kind of all we have about the team, about what they're planning on doing. This does come on the heels of a lot of criticism we've talked about here is Sony has closed down a lot of their stores, like their PS3 store, their PS Vita storefronts. Like, and come on, that cannot be that much money to maintain. Yeah, you know, in the grand scheme of things,
right?
But
maybe it's just not worth it. Maybe just nothing's happening, or maybe they're prepping for, a bigger unified. I don't know.
I just think people look at the existential value of it, and I feel like that's important when there are games that only ever existed on that store,
yeah,
and aren't going to be ever migrated to a new store. When you pull those storefronts down, poof, those games literally don't exist anymore, which is kind of weird. So,
I mean, I do like that they have a game preservation, even like a dude, right?
Game preservation guy.
Game preservation is a big deal. It seems silly,
yep,
but like, in the world as it is now, where a lot of stuff, a lot of games, a lot of content is never released as in a physical format, game preservation becomes a big deal because you have to have a place like if it's not preserved, it's gone. Like it will just die and be gone forever, and that's happened already. So there are actually people who are very passionate about game preservation, for the history of the hobby. So I like it. I think this is a cool thing. At least somebody's thinking about it over at PlayStation.
And exactly what you said, at least somebody's thinking about it. The fact that they would hire a role means that this role now exists at a major game studio.
Yep.
And that is progress. I'll take it. I will take that. At least he has some footing that he can build some sort of foundation, and if this turfs out and fails after 2 years, it does not matter because at least he's gained some knowledge from it, and like this is something that like can be attempted again. So
yeah, because a lot of game preservation does feel like semi illegal. Like you're keeping a pirated copy of this game that, you know what I mean? It's
maybe semi illegal but fully moral.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Fully white on that black and white, folks.
Yeah.
If you cannot buy this thing and it exists in literally no other format,
like I saw a Reddit
go ahead and
post.
pirate it.
I saw a Reddit post that somebody was like, "Hey, we found this disc for oh gosh, did you see this one, JD? It was a disc for somebody who had worked on QA testing, and I can't remember what the game was."
Dang.
Battlefront 3, something like a Star Wars game like that.
Yeah.
That never came out, never was released on the PS, the handheld PlayStation thing.
Vita.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, they canceled the game, and in the place he worked, they turned in all the discs. He found this disc, just took it home. We found it like last week, and it is a QA copy of this game that was never released, a Star Wars game. What should we do with it? And everyone was like, okay, you need to get that over to a preservationist ASAP because Disney is going to definitely sue you for this. Delete this post.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Disney will come and get it. You need to get this to a preservationist because if it doesn't exist in any other format, it's gone.
It's going in that Disney vault.
Yeah. Preservation's a big deal.
Yeah. Dude, keep fighting the good fight. I'd love that. Timed game trials are now a requirement for some PlayStation developers. PlayStation's doing some weird shit. So they're
just trying stuff.
Why not try stuff? They've got to try stuff. They're going to compete with Microsoft. Jesus. So this is timed game trials for PlayStation Plus Premium. PlayStation Plus Premium. That's literally what it's going to be called.
I hate it.
I'm going to have to get a pop filters exclusively to describe this pop product. Are you fucking serious? I can't. We're going to drive our listeners nuts.
They just start mailing them out. They just start mailing them out to every podcast. They're just like, yeah, I'm so sorry. Here you go.
I'm sorry that you have to talk about this. So this is just for their premium subscribers. Developers working on games that have a wholesale cost of $34 or more have to create a time-limited game trial of their game that must be at least 2 hours long. All these devs were just informed about this via an update through their developer portal. Not even like an email. It was just like, hey, here's an update. You better have this.
Yeah.
They do have a while. They have 3 months after their game's launch to do this trial, and they only have to give this to premium subscribers for 12 months. So there is like a flexibility of it, but man, at first I thought, what a weird dickhead move to just like force this on your developers. But then when I saw this was a feature for their premium subscribers, I thought, oh, that makes sense. Because people, I guess, I don't know that I would pay for this.
Right.
But, I mean, this is any game over $34. So you're telling me I can play any game for a 2-hour trial?
Just try it out.
Actually, I am kind of into this now.
So this is kind of funny. I don't know if you remember this. I brought this up as something that I would want to see on the podcast years ago. You and Spencer lambasted me a little bit for it.
Please find this clip. I would love to hear that.
Gosh, it would take me 100 years to find it.
Yeah.
But this is something that I would be interested in because, yeah, there's a lot of games that you're like, should I buy it? Should I buy it? I don't know.
And 2 hours is more than enough.
Yeah, on any game, right?
Yeah.
2 hours is going to be more than enough to figure out if you're interested or not. That's the time limit to return a Steam game is if you've played less than 2 hours, because you really know by that point. And so, yeah, I do like the trial period because, I mean, how many games have you tried out that you've actually bought? Like it's been a lot for me. Like a game that I'll try. I'll be like, I think I'll like this. I'm not sure. And then I play it. I like it. I'm like, dude, I was into it. I'm going to buy it. So I do like timed trials.
So I guess if you look at this as a small value add of the premium subscription, it's pretty cool. Yeah. But for the most part, I feel like when we talk about Steam, and you mentioned the Steam just does this by default, essentially for every single game, you can just play it for 2 hours. And there are a ton of games on Steam that do have demos, especially a lot of the indie games.
Which I think is smart.
Which is awesome, and it's smart, and it sells your game. So my question to you is, does this just by default make so many developers, because every AAA developer is going to have to start doing this now for all their fucking games that they release on Sony's platforms, does this just become the norm now? By forcing this and mandating this, does Sony make an industry standard of having a 2-hour trial if you make a game, which I don't think is a bad standard, by the way.
Right. I don't think so. If I'm
give me a 2-hour
honest.
pitch of your game. Give me a trailer. Every movie, even indie movies, going into Sundance with no fucking budget at all, will trim together a trailer,
cobble together something.
This is your movie trailer.
Yeah.
And saying you should have one, I don't think is that outlandish.
Yeah, I don't know if it becomes an industry standard, like you said, because it is adding costs to an industry that seems like they're always trying to cut costs.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's more there. You're going to start seeing like in Sony's software, they will just have a timer. You hit
think
play,
so?
and it's going to be like, here we go. Yeah, you're
To
just
just
playing
take
this
the
game for
lazy
free.
route.
Yep, and then it's just going to be like, meh, cut you off when you're done and be like, do you want to continue playing? If so, So I don't know. That seems wild, but I cannot see every developer being like,
they're just going to cut it their game cost below $34 is what's going to happen. This is
that's
not going to
terrible.
affect most indie game
Yeah.
developers, to be
That's
honest.
true.
Like I said, this is really going after the AAAs that are not going to have any problem doing this.
Yeah,
This will take them no time at all to do for a game like Fallout 4.
Oh, yeah. No, this won't be
Easy.
hard for them at all. I think a lot of them probably have something similar.
If they haven't already made this for Steam.
If they don't have it already, I bet they have something similar internally.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll hear like, oh, when they go to like E3 or something, and there's like a demo, there's a playable demo of the game that you can play. Like it's not uncommon for them to make a demo for media, for events and things like that. Yeah, I don't think that would be a big deal for them at all.
But I mean, I stand by it, and this is my advice, man. Indie game devs, everyone, you should be making these because the reason
need a demo
that
of your game on
they
Steam.
sold 2 copies of Planet Crafter to me and Peterson was because Planet Crafter had a demo, essentially.
Yep.
And I played the demo for 8 minutes before I shut it down and bought the fucking game.
Yep.
That's all it took. So they didn't need to even have a 2-hour demo, and I'm pretty sure their demo goes for a couple hours, like 5 or 6. So make a demo. I feel like I like this prod from PlayStation, and I hope that more people follow it.
All right, that's enough.
JD sales report.
There's the longest now announcing beep 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 sound.
My telegraph.
Yeah.
But I have a sales report this week,
You
folks, and you love it when I give a sales report. Square Enix has sold Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal to holding company Embracer Group. This is just an ongoing thing we've been tracking. There are a lot of sales, a lot of acquisitions in the gaming industry right now because, like single-family housing units, that apparently is the very, very hot item to buy for rich people to make more money. I just will give a brief primer on who these studios are if you guys aren't aware. Crystal Dynamics was the studio behind Legacy of Kain way back in the day, if you guys remember that game. Later, Tomb Raider, like 50 Tomb Raider games, kind of that second generation Tomb Raider games, if you remember them, and then the latest one. Marvel's Avengers was their latest game, which obviously was way outside their comfort zone, and honestly probably helped lower their value enough that this sale was possible.
Primed them for sale.
So fucking crazy, the idea that a couple managers got stars in their eyes about a Marvel partnership and literally just completely turfed the studio because of that. The next one was Eidos Montreal, and they made Deus Ex, all those Deus Ex games, that's strategy, right? No. I'm thinking.
I don't know. I never played Deus Ex.
I think that's a shooting game. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and they made Guardians of the Galaxy, that latest Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Which was a very good game.
Which was like pretty good.
Yeah.
And then obviously Square Enix, Montreal is Square Enix, saying tons of stuff that Square Enix does. Embracer Group, I think we've talked about them before. This is the former THQ Nordic.
Okay.
Who was a Swedish company that acquired the THQ name and then pushed it together because they wanted to borrow that, and then they changed it because they were realizing they didn't want any connection to THQ anymore. Honestly, I really couldn't. I got a general read on this company. Long story short, it was just kind of like a Swedish company that just had like different interests in games and looking out for ways to make money. And they made a shit ton of money by buying a bunch of unused games from studios like EA, like pallets full of these, and then selling them in underserved markets like Eastern Europe and the Middle East and stuff, where they're like, they don't have access to a lot of games, and it's like, here's a ton of new games that EA didn't want.
They sold a whole bunch of Sims 3 game
a million Sims 3 games they were selling to Ukrainian assassins and terrorists and Nazis.
It's so many of them
all together. It's all the same muddled mix. Anyway, so these guys they made a bunch of money doing that, and that was recently. That was like 10 years ago. And then they started buying studios up and snatching them up. More recently, they've been issuing stock to raise money for acquisitions, like $1 billion of fucking money they've raised this way. Because that was my question. It's like, it's all well and good to say, oh, they're just acquiring a bunch of companies. But I'm like, you have to have money to acquire a bunch of companies. You can't just acquire a bunch of companies. Where's the money coming from?
No, JD, you can. You can just, like, I've been thinking
you can't just make money by acquiring companies.
I was thinking about getting one too, so
I think we should acquire a video game company. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, dude.
They make a lot of money.
Yeah, let's get one.
Oh my god! So yeah, that's how that's where, if you guys are wondering where this is coming from, is like partially like some pretty shrewd business practices, some smart business plays that they've made, right place, right time, some good investments. Bought some good studios, bought some underperforming studios and brought them up to snuff. And then more recently, like I said, sold a shit or issued a shit ton of stock and sold a bunch of stock. And then immediately they acquired Coffee Stain. I didn't know these guys had Coffee Stain. That's the studio that published Deep Rock Galactic, Valheim. You might see it around. Yeah. They just, because I went into this thinking it was just a holding company, which is what they're described as and what they kind of are. But it does seem like they have like a vague interest in, like, I don't know. It doesn't really seem like they have a clear idea what they're doing other than making money in video games. Like, that's their jam. And they're doing a pretty good job at it.
Yeah, and they're making smart acquisitions to do that.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Tencent in the early like 2010s.
Yeah.
When they were snatching up like Supercell and all these other big mobile platforms, and we're like, oh damn, there goes another $1 billion company that Tencent just bought. And they were just really scooping up. But at the same time, you're like, who the fuck is Tencent? And what are they doing? And why are they doing it? And then later we kind of saw, their strategy unfold and stuff. So Embracer Group probably has a strategy. Probably this first strategy should be changing their stupid fucking name again.
Yeah.
Try maybe the fourth time's the charm, guys, but Embracer Group ain't it. So I don't know. But probably a game you like or play is owned in some way by these dudes.
Not probably, definitely. There's a lot of games on here.
Yeah, because if you look, they've got, okay, so I'll just go briefly over some of the parent holding groups. These game studios, Neon Giant, Tarsier Studios, Coffee Stain, Ghost Ship Games, Dark Horse Comics, and Dark Horse Entertainment. These guys own Dark Horse?
Mm-hmm.
What the shit?
Dude, it's like a crazy mix of stuff. Asmodee.
Gearbox. They own all of Gearbox Entertainment.
Dude.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Deep Silver. Let's see. 3D Realms. So all of Saber Interactive. So like Snapshot Games, Zen Studios.
So and it's not just video games. I mentioned Asmodee. They're like Settlers of Catan, Ticket to Ride, Arkham Horror, board games. Like they're in stuff, entertainment stuff. This is crazy.
I mean, Embracer Group is a fitting name. They're embracing everything.
That's true.
This is just something to keep an eye on. That's all. Like, I don't have any pithy conclusion here. Just like keep an eye on the Embracer Group. They're doing stuff.
Yeah, they're buying stuff.
And then the other thing here on my sales report is that Warner Brothers Interactive may be on the sales block.
On the soon. It's on the auction block.
On the auction block. This is coming in the midst of the Discovery Warner Brothers merger. Is that they're shopping around their interactive division, which has been the case for years. That Warner Brothers has just like Warner Brothers Interactive has just been this like stepchild that no one wants anything to do with,
selling off stuff.
Weird, because they make great fucking games. Like, they're making these the Arkham horror games. They're publishing those Asylum. Or the Arkham Asylum games, and the why can't I remember the Shadow of Mordor games? Like, they're doing good stuff, and they just hate these guys. Like, no one wants them. There must be something on the financial sheet that when anyone looks at this, like any accountant looks at the studio, they're like, nope, don't like this. And I don't know what
we don't know what it is,
but something is just like red flagging anyone, and they're trying to get rid of them. I don't know why. But there's a lot of rumors flying. There's a lot of just like, I wouldn't say thinly sourced. It's fairly well sourced.
Like he in this tweet leaks. That this guy says interested parties include EA, Take-Two, Microsoft, Sony, Tencent, NetEase, the freak, PUBG Corp.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah, like
what a nightmare. PUBG buys Warner Brothers Interactive, and I jump off a cliff. And PUBG is responsible for fucking Hogwarts Legacy. I jump off a cliff, sir. I jump off a cliff.
Believe it or not, cliff.
Believe it or not, I'm just to jump right off that cliff.
They would say, it says that they want to sell Rocksteady, license out Batman and Suicide Squad, sell Avalanche, and license Harry Potter. So yeah, they're
gonna
just like
shred it.
Yeah, that this story alludes to an absolute shredding of
which is
Warner
like
Bros. Properties.
Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe these smaller studios wouldn't super care and would actually appreciate not having a parent company that's constantly at risk of being sold. And maybe Hogwarts Legacy would be like, maybe if EA was like, we're buying this, that studio, Avalanche, would be like, sweet. Can't wait to be EA Salt Lake again and have you shut us down later.
That'll be great. Looking forward to it.
So hopefully it's not EA, but potentially a studio like, I don't know, who would you want?
Microsoft. I would want Microsoft to buy it.
It'd be the coolest fucking thing.
Just because I feel like they would do something with it. That's why.
They would do nothing with it. Microsoft would just shovel cash.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what it's going to be, though? Wait, no. Yeah, no, I feel like Microsoft would do a great job.
Well, because they would want these games. They'd be like, oh, cool, let's get a Harry Potter game day one on Xbox Game Pass. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
Oh, my God.
Like, I feel like Microsoft would do a lot.
We were just laughing about that earlier tonight, that it would be free day one on something like EGS, and you said no way, and we just figured out how it could be free day one.
Microsoft
That's the only thing that could possibly make me love Hogwarts Legacy more.
If they came out and said it was free on a Game Pass day one, JD, I would be so happy. That would be
everyone would get Game Pass. That would sell
all the
billion
it would sell
subscriptions
all the
to Game Pass, and that might be enough for them to look at Hogwarts Legacy and be like, "Yeah, we'll buy that shit."
Yeah.
Oh my God! If that happens, I will die. Now I'm kind of rooting for this sale. Chop them up and sell them, boys. I don't want it anymore. Warner Brothers Interactive just sucks.
Sell it.
Sell it off. And now time for 7 Sleazy Minutes with Activision. All right, I got my timer out. Hopefully we don't need all 7 minutes, but maybe we will. But
I got a timer going too. Ready, go.
Okay, New York City is getting in on the action, and they are suing Activision and Bobby Kotick. What the fuck is going on?
targeting Bobby Kotick. They're coming for that.
This is what's so funny is that when you have a company this large with this much stock out there, everyone has a piece, apparently. And it ends up that a lot of invested parties stand to lose a lot of money and maybe a little pissed if they think someone is actually actively to blame for them losing their money. And in this case, it's the New York City Employees Retirement System.
Nice.
Which you've got to imagine is a massive pension fund because it's for all the city's teachers, police, and firefighters.
Yeah.
This is like that scene in The Other Guys where he's investing.
That's where I went mentally, to The Other Guys.
That they're investing this police pension fund, and it is on the order of hundreds of millions of dollars because it's so massive. And so, yeah, when you're investing that in a company, sometimes it ends up in a company like Activision. And then you find out someone like Bobby Kotick is rushing to secure a takeover bid so he can escape liability for misconduct at the company. You might file a lawsuit in Delaware. So yeah, they think the actions of the gaming giant's management hurt the company's value, and they are demanding a long list of documents to prove otherwise. I don't know if this will go anywhere. I don't think it would go anywhere, but I do think it's going to be a headache, and it would be really cool if some judge somewhere was like, no, not only are we going to throw a wrench in this acquisition, but we're going to throw a wrench until Bobby Kotick is investigated thoroughly. I would really like to see, instead of a $250 million golden parachute, Bobby Kotick sees some sort of consequence. That would be so cool.
You know who the real winner in this whole thing is? I can't help but think the winner in this whole thing is Bobby Kotick's lawyers. These guys are making so much money,
dude,
and it's the same
job
stuff.
Security forever.
Yeah, it's the same. They don't even have to come up with new information or anything like that. They're just like, oh, yep, here we go, same data, same info. Here we go. We're gonna make another $2 million just from this. Bobby Kotick is constantly talking to his lawyers. Do
you think the first time that Bobby Kotick slithered out of their office after their initial meeting, they took the time to clean up his slime trail before they called their wife and they're like, honey, you know what? Go ahead and buy that boat. Because I think we're going to be set for life. The guy I just met, the client I just took on, he left a slime trail, hun. That's what I'm saying.
He's going to keep us employed for quite a while.
We're going to be busy.
It's going to be great. For real. The gravy train just left and actually left gravy all over the floor.
Honey, please don't call Bobby Kotick slime gravy. That's my only request. This next thing is that Wall Street is betting that Microsoft, their Activision deal will fail. So when I say nothing will happen, caveat, there's a 24% premium that this will fail.
Mm-hmm.
They're seeing that there's a risk that the buyout won't close as planned,
won't be allowed, or something will happen.
And the risk premium is more than double that of Twitter's following Elon Musk's offer. Mm-hmm. So if you guys were watching the Musk offer and like, ooh, that's kind of sketchy, that might not go down, keep in mind Wall Street thinks that the Activision Blizzard thing is twice as unlikely to go down. So again, 24%. I don't think it's really that likely, but I mean,
just throw some money at it. You know what I mean?
We've seen crazier things happen on odds like that.
Yeah.
So like a presidential election on odds that are similar to that. So I'm saying it's not completely outside the realm of possibility that something stops this deal that we've been talking about for months, this Activision Microsoft deal. And Activision might have to go, I don't know, back to the drawing board and try to figure something out.
Now who's going to buy us? Now
what's going to fucking happen at that point? Ooh, that would be really gnarly.
Yeah.
If they can't wrap this up nicely with a bow.
Like, oh, we're still responsible for all this. Oh shoot, what was happening with those union guys?
That's the thing. All the people, all the stockholders for Activision are like, "Oh my god, what a godsend! Fucking Microsoft is gonna bail us out.
Yeah.
Microsoft is gonna swoop in and save the day, and just give us all golden parachutes and make everyone so happy." I'm kind of really rooting for it to fail now.
It'd be chaos, and that would be fun.
I do like chaos.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. So keep an eye out on that. I will be keeping an eye out. Maybe this deal will get shut down.
Hey, you finished with a minute and a half left.
I know. I could just say Activision for 90 full seconds, but I won't.
Kudos.
All right. Kudos is this positivity segment where we say something nice about something. Because my mom always said, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Did she say that? Because that was a quote from Bambi. Was she a big Bambi fan?
So I made a whole podcast to spite that, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
Where I say nothing but unkind things.
Nothing but mean things.
But here I have a small segment to please my mother called Kudos. And I have Kudos this week. I will go kind of quickly. This show, I know you guys have been like, JD, shut up about Judd Apatow. But I saw this show on
Judd Apatow.
It was on Netflix, and I thought, God, we haven't watched this. Or it was on Hulu, I think. And I was like, Jenna, we haven't watched this. Let's just watch this. Have you seen this? Freaks and Geeks. Guys, Freaks and Geeks. I had never seen this before, being the lifelong Judd Apatow fan that I am. And Peterson, I'm so happy you haven't seen it. I need you to watch it, preferably with Kelsey.
Okay.
Because you guys you were much closer to the 80s. Not much closer, but like a couple years closer.
I'm way closer than you.
Yeah, basically.
When were you born,
You spent
JD?
your teenage
89?
years in the 80s.
My teenage years, okay. I was still a child in the 80s.
So you will like this. It is, because the show was filmed in 1999 and 2000, but it was set in 1980.
Okay.
And so, which is crazy to think that would be like a show today set in 2002. What?
Yeah.
And so the perspective is really interesting. I don't know, dude. It's honestly, I got to say, one of the best TV series I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
It's one season. It's like 18 episodes, and they're hour long. Well, they're 45 minutes because of ads, whatever. But I was like, this is insane that somebody greenlit this show, because they are hour-long episodes. They take forever to develop stories. They spend a lot of time like developing characters and stories for payoffs. And you realize, Peterson, can you think of any network television shows, television comedies that are an hour long?
Comedies?
Comedies.
That's not common.
I can't think of any that I could think. There's a handful, I think, on streaming services and stuff. But an hour, like every once in a while, there was an episode of The Office that was an hour, and those episodes were fucking awesome. Remember? Yeah. Because they could really...
Those are the best ones.
...make long storylines.
Yeah.
And that's what the show is. And it's every episode, and it's clear that, like, Judd Apatow was, like, really stretching his legs with this, and he didn't care that it got canceled after the season. He was doing it his way. Well, clearly he did, because I read in an interview that he said every single thing he's made since that is made to spite the people that canceled it, because he keeps featuring the same actors that are all from Freaks and Geeks, because you watch Freaks and Geeks and you're like, all of these people were just his original, the cast, the well that he keeps going back to with these same actors over and over again. And he's doing it spitefully. Like, fuck you for canceling my show. Watch this guy win an Oscar in my movie that I'm making for him. Like, I think that's so awesome. So, it's good, dude. The acting's amazing. The writing is incredible. You'll recognize all the actors as very young versions of themselves. I have zero unkind things to say about this show. I have zero nits. I have nothing but the highest of praise. And even the fact that it's only one season and it's done, I wasn't even left being like, oh man, why'd they cancel it? Bring back Freaks and Geeks. I was like, dude, that just felt like the most zen experience I've ever had. And I'm glad that it was like, I was glad to have had it, and it's over. And I'm going to go back and rewatch it a bunch. I want you to watch it, Peterson.
What did you watch it on again?
I think it's on Hulu.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's on Hulu.
So Netflix or Hulu probably, though.
Yeah, so it's definitely on one of those two. But yeah, check it out because I think any fan of any of his movies will enjoy it. But
okay.
Yeah, it's on Hulu and Apple TV, and I guess if you have that Disney Plus bundle, and Paramount Plus, and DirecTV. Guys, you can find this anywhere. You can buy it on Amazon.
All over the place.
There's no excuse not to watch this. It's just a quick 18 episodes. I really recommend. If you haven't seen Freaks and Geeks, you gotta watch it. Peterson, do you have any kudos?
Yeah, I have 2 quick kudos.
Kudos.
One is a little bit tongue in cheek. We talked about Halo, the TV show. But JD, I got to give them kudos because finally, in episode 6, there is a battle scene, and I'm not being glib. We had the fight scene, the opening fight sequence in episode 1, and then no fight scenes until episode 6. And honestly, it was really great. It was watching the fight scene of episode 6, the big battle. It finally felt like Halo for a change, which is
for like how long is it? For like how many minutes?
It's probably like 5 minutes.
5 minutes of Halo, man.
Finally felt like Halo.
6 hours.
It was very cool. You were seeing Spartans doing just crazy things. It's the show, it wants to be rated R, but it's not because it's Halo. So it is as bloody as it can be. We do finally see somebody die to a needler. It's very fast, like very, very fast. I'm talking 3 seconds. But the needles hit a Marine. He explodes into a dust of blood and green needler plasma or whatever it is. It's super cool. The fight scene in Halo. Honestly, if you're not going to watch the show, I would just find episode 6.
You sent this to me, and I just watched it.
Find the fight scene and just watch it
because a couple times on loop.
And it's very good.
Okay,
finally, that's the thing. You watched it and you were like, "Here we go!" Like they can do it, and still though they do reserve their best CGI for the Covenant. Because the aliens look really good.
They're easy.
And then there was a small part, I had to rewind it because it was so goofy looking, of one of the Spartans like sprinting next to a Jeep that was not driving slowly. So like running probably 50 miles per hour. And it looked really weird. Looked real bad. But the aliens look good. So that's the plus. So one fight scene in Halo episode 6. That's what my kudos is for. And then I have another real kudos. Not that wasn't real, but JD, and I know you've seen it, the Thor Love and Thunder trailer.
So
the latest one. Guys, look, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm having superhero fatigue." I'm not. Like, I'm really having a fun time with Marvel still. But this is like, as far as fun times go, the Thor Love and Thunder trailer looks like this movie is going to be exclusively fun from start to finish. It's got cool music. It's got an 80s vibe, like a very purposefully 80s vibe. It shows Thor getting buff again. There's a little bit of comedy. So if you remember where he is off gallivanting with the Guardians of the Galaxy now. And so him and Star-Lord being goofballs together. It shows Zeus. He's in it. It shows, I think, what looks like the dead world serpent. And then it shows buff Natalie Portman. Jacked. I'm trying to think of a good name for her still. But buff Natalie Portman, she catches Mjolnir because she is going to be female Thor, whatever that's called.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew that was happening.
Just Thor.
She's just Thor.
Just Thor.
But he's Thor too. So I don't know.
Is he?
I mean, that's his name.
Is it?
It is his name.
Maybe we don't know.
Is Thor a
Dude,
title?
if that Natalie Portman showed up in my house and she said, "My name is Jonathan Deasing now," and I'd be like, "Yes, it is.
Yep, it is.
Yes, ma'am.
You're absolutely right.
You're fucking right. It is,
dude. She's looking buff. And there are like,
oh my God.
dude, I don't know.
I'm so
good.
in.
It looks so good.
I'm so in.
I was smiling every time. Every 10 times that I've watched it, I'm smiling each time. I loved it.
Here's the thing. There are things. You guys know how I feel about consumption and capitalism, but there are things, you guys. McDonald's, Skittles, fucking Marvel movies. I don't care. Just make them out of koala blood. I don't fucking care. It's just good.
Okay, no, I don't want things made out of koala blood. Those things are like little chlamydia Care Bears.
Is it a bloodborne illness?
I don't know, but I don't want.
I'm going to try to find out. I trust my stomach acid, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
I think my stomach acid could kick the shit out of some chlamydia.
Okay.
Do you?
I don't want. Should we
those are your 2 kudos. Okay, cool.
2 kudos.
All right, let's move on.
Oh my God, the first impression rose.
All right, first impression rose is where we have taken a game out on a very first date, and we have decided whether or not we want to keep going with that game and what we think about that game. And I had a couple of games for this that I have been playing, because ever since I beat Planet Crafter, I've been like desperate for a new game. I played a game called Necess. I don't know. It was it's like a survivor, top-down survival. I tried a game called Timberborn, which is a timberpunk game. Timberpunk is a
lumberpunk.
Lumberpunk. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Lumberpunk is a beaver-based game. That's what lumberpunk is. Beaver-based technology game. So beaver technology. And that game with like a sim management. I played a little bit of that, and that was fun. But the game I did want to give a first impression rose to was Nobody Saves the World. I thought I was so hot on this game. I don't know how it slipped under my radar, because as Peterson pointed out, this game came out in January on Xbox, and last month it came out on PlayStation 4, 5, and the Switch. It'd probably be pretty good on the Switch. It's also free on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, for sure, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Nobody Saves the World is a top-down action dungeon crawling game. And
this is by the same guys who made, so it's Drinkbox Studios, same guys who made Guacamelee. Did you ever play that?
I am familiar with it. I never played it. I own it, but I never played it.
That's a game you and Jenna should play together. It's a good co-op game. But Guacamelee 2, I played that with my kids. Anyway, same developer. Feels similar.
So this is a co-op game as well, and you can play online. Or Jenna and I were playing on the same screen. It's not split screen. You're just together. And you have characters, and you're just rolling around hitting enemies just like you would expect in a top-down adventure game. But the hook here, and what really got me, and this is what we only played it for like an hour or two so far, but what really hooked me was the fact that you start out as the avatar wizard idiot, whatever, that controls all these different characters, and you are useless. In fact, like, your character's like cry hitting things, like he's like sobbing. I thought he was dabbing, but I think he's like wiping his nose, and that's how he hit these things, until you unlock the very first character, which is a rat. And then you play as a rat for a while, and then you unlock the next 2 characters, which are like a guy with a sword and a chick with a bow. And then if you keep playing with the guy with the sword, you unlock a horse. And that was where I left off, was playing as a horse and like kicking people.
Oh, nice.
But what's really cool is that it gives you, I'm saying you're unlocking these guys, you're unlocking them by doing little quests. So it's like, kill 40 guys with your sword, or like the rat, when he bites people, he poisons them, and then if he chomps them, he gains health. And so there was a quest to chomp poisoned guys. So you bit, and made sure they were poisoned, and then you chomped them. You did that 20 times, and that's what I did to end up unlocking the guys, like the 2 guys. And so that was awesome. And so I am so curious, and Jenna and I are both so excited, and the game keeps telling us, and being very explicit, keep switching up your guys. Like, keep changing who you're playing as, keep switching those guys up, because you'll unlock things quicker, you'll get more quests, and you'll get more things to do. Meanwhile, there's a overworld map that we've been exploring. It's reminiscent of God, I can't remember that game. I never can remember that game where it's like the stick figures that are in a fantasy setting, and it's
it was not the cowboy one.
No, they're stick figures in a fantasy setting that are it's a hack and slash, side scrolling.
Oh, I don't know.
You would know it if I said it. Anyway, long story short, it reminds me of, it's like just like a classic top-down overworld map that you travel on, but you're like revealing the fog of war while you're traveling it, and I'm still trying to think of different things to unlock. Basically, this is a game that within the first couple minutes I was very hooked and very interested, and then after about 30 minutes I'm in. It's got my rose. Like,
oh wow. Okay.
I'm in. Like, this game, the fact that it's co-op, the co-op itself has no interference. Jenna and I were playing, and it was so fun. If one of us dies, the other person just has to stay alive for a couple seconds, and they come back full health, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that. And you know what? The more I play co-op games, the more I'm like, yeah, just make that easy, man. Like, then what's beautiful is if you make the respawning and that type of stuff without you don't add complex layers of like, oh, you have to gather a certain resource, and then you can bring your player back one time, and that's how you do it. Well, then the difficulty comes from that weird grindy thing. Whereas I prefer the difficulty being just like really, really hard, because you've made it really easy to respawn and work together like that. And then you can crank up the difficulty that way. So I'm interested to see where this game goes. You said your kids were playing it and they liked it a lot.
Yeah, they liked it. They were playing it on Xbox. They downloaded
Castle
it.
Crashers.
That's what it. Yeah, that's not
the map in
figures.
Castle Crashers. That's a lot like this one.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like Castle Crashers.
Yep. Sorry, I got there. Fucking Castle Crashers.
We'll get there.
Your kids were playing this?
Yeah. So my kids were playing it. I think they've moved on, but they did play it for a bit. It's right up. It looks like a game that's right up their alley. So.
Yeah, that's what was my first thought. Is like, this would be a game a couple kids could sit down and just have a whole afternoon just dicking around with.
Yep.
Because it's just so much going on. The art, and I haven't even gotten into the art style and the comedy and the writing and the the voice. It's awesome. It's so funny. Like, it's very, very funny. There were a number of times I laughed. Like, the speech options you have are pretty funny. Like, one of them was no or hell no. And nice. I was like, okay, that's pretty fun. And it was like, it was not just it was actually funny in the context.
Right. That's how it reminds me of Guacamelee. Guacamelee is not a game that takes itself seriously. You're what, those Mexican wrestlers?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you are in the game, and it's a fighting game. So yeah, it's like not serious at all.
Yeah, the first dungeon we cleared was called the Horse Mine. And it was like a mine where there was like giant carrots growing and like,
oh my gosh,
like troughs. And then we freed a bunch of horses that apparently were being mined there. And that's when I unlocked the horse and I went and talked to one of the horses we freed and fell in love with it. It was a whole thing. It was very strange, but hilarious. And I was having a blast the whole time. So check it out if you have Game Pass. Otherwise, it's on everything else. And it's like $30. And honest to God, I'm not going to say it yet. I'll give an updated review later, but I'm starting to lean toward like, this is a buy at any price game. It's called Nobody Saves the World. Check it out. JD asks.
JD asks.
JD asks?
JD's ass. I don't know, guys. We're going with JD ass. JD's ass. All right, JD Asks is this segment where I ask something. And this week, I'm asking, what are some things you do when you're gaming that make you feel guilty? And this isn't guilty pleasures. This is like, what are things you're doing? You're like, ugh, I can't. I will lead off.
Yeah, what I want to know what
is
prompted this.
I don't know if you knew this. Do you know my number one candy is?
Your number one candy?
Yeah. This is good JD trivia. Now everyone's going to know this.
I don't think I do.
Never forget this. It's saltwater taffy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I realized after about I realized this about 4 or 5 years ago that this is my favorite kind of candy.
Which is wild because it's like super mediocre to me.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
it's not like mediocre. It's like God tier candy to me. Like we're talking if you're like, what's one candy you can only ever eat one candy for the rest of your life? You don't even finish that sentence before I'm like taffy. Duh. But it's so funny because I only a couple weeks, like 2 weeks ago, realized why. And it's because when I was a kid, my mom used to take me to the Trolley Square Mall, and there was a candy store there that had hand-pulled taffy. It wasn't hand-pulled, I'm sorry. It was pulled on an old-fashioned taffy pulling machine, like you might see it, like, I don't know, in, like, Jersey City in the 20s. Yeah. Like on the boardwalk.
Well, I saw one in South Carolina at an old-fashioned candy store.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right there. Mm-hmm. Like, that's where you expect to see something like this. So they had one of these, and I, being, the dumb kid I was, my mom literally could just, like, plop me in front of this thing, like, and just go shop in the mall. And I would just sit there and stare at the taffy, and the poor workers would be like, is he okay? And she's like, yeah, he's just going to sit here and stare at your taffy for 4 hours. Well, I do grocery
We gave him an Adderall, and now he can't stop staring at this taffy.
All I can think about is just that taffy. No, that taffy was my Adderall. It was the only thing that calmed my fucking brain down as a kid. So I loved that taffy, and I realized because I found that exact taffy machine, it's at Gardner Village, because I interrogated the poor employees at Gardner Village recently, and they're like, yeah, this is that taffy machine. And I was like, do you know what this means to me?
I'll buy it from you right now.
I want it. No, I was so happy to just buy the taffy there that they made on the machine I was used to. And it was amazing. And as I took the first bite of this taffy, I was like, oh, this is why I love taffy. It's like a Ratatouille situation.
Okay, so how do we get to guilty pleasures from this?
So recently,
or guilty gaming.
I found as a terrible thing, my local grocery store has a taffy display now. And I bought a gigantic bag of taffy, like a sack. I call it a sack of taffy.
Okay.
And the other night I was playing games, eating taffy. And the problem with taffy is that there's evidence of your sin.
Because you got a wrapper for
and
each one.
It's pretty big. Taffy wrappers are among the bigger wrappers. They leave a pretty big footprint on your desk.
Yeah.
And I looked down after gaming, and there was a veritable pile of these wrappers. And I thought, ugh. So I just scooped them up into a giant ball, threw it away, and just kept going. Because once that was gone, their guilt was gone.
Oh, then you felt much better. Yeah.
Because I didn't have to look at like the result of that. So
what did I do?
Eating tons of snacks when you just sit there and you're like, you eat a whole box of something or a whole bag of something, and you're like, oh shit, because you're gaming and you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
So that was where I came up with this question was.
Oh, so I took this a couple different ways. One was, what do I feel guilty actually in games that I'm doing?
Right. Okay. That works too.
But I do have a real life one where I feel guilty when I am playing a game that my friends are not playing. And I will see the boys online, and I'll hop on even sometimes and be like, they're like, oh, dude, you want to play something? And I'm like, oh, no. I'm playing whatever that they're not playing. It's a single player game or something like that. I feel guilty every time I play a single player game because I'm like, that means one of the guys is not playing with me.
You're wasting multiplayer time. Available to you.
Yep. And so I feel guilty when I do that. Also, I do have an in-game one.
Okay.
And this is made very apparent because I told you I've been playing Hades. I've been back into Hades a little bit.
Nut. Yeah.
There's this option where you go into a map and there are the symbols for two different gods. And that's how you get like your abilities is from the various gods. Like Ares will give you, Ares types of abilities and Poseidon, right? And so there'll be two different ones and you have to pick one. Well, the other god that you don't pick, he like takes it personally. He's like, dude, I thought we were friends. I thought we were in a good place. I guess not. And then they attack you and they send some minions to fight you. And then afterwards they're like, okay, but don't do that again, And JD, I swear to you, I make it a point to never spurn the same god twice in a row. Because I'm like, dude, they're gonna get mad at me. Like they're never gonna like turn on you. That's not a thing. But I feel like they're going to, and they're not going to be my friend anymore.
That's so funny.
I feel bad every time.
Guilty in game.
Yes, for choosing one god over the other.
I feel guilty about doing is when I'm doing the same thing over and over, just mindlessly, because it brings me joy. Like when we were playing Valheim, the most recent playthrough, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to boot up another solo server just to test something," and I ended up putting like 20 hours or 30 hours into that server. I felt so guilty, dude. I was like, dude, you are just doing another Valheim playthrough like days after you've wrapped one up. Why are you doing this? And I was like, dude, I just needed it. I was like pretty stressed out, and I just was like, this is therapy for me. But I did feel guilty because I was like, there are other games you could be playing. There's other things you could be working on. Like, but sometimes just that mindless repetition. I'm going to be doing the same damn thing with Planet Crafter here in a couple weeks because they're releasing a new update, and I know I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And I just beat that game, and that game's not even procedurally generated. I'm going to be exploring the same caverns.
Map and same.
I know exactly where everything is, and I will feel guilty, but I'm going to know I'm going to damn well do it. So that's one of the things I kind of feel guilty of.
A really dumb one is if you have the option to, and I don't give attention to my pets in a game.
Oh, that is a good one.
It's really dumb, but like I guess another example is Hades, top of mind. Cerberus lives at your house, and he's like your dog, and you always go pet him. Every time I die, I need to go back and pet Cerberus and talk to him. I've already completed the Cerberus storyline. There's no story benefit for me to do that anymore, but I can't leave without doing that. It was the same when I was playing Undermine. There's like dogs around, and you're like,
there's 3 dogs.
You gotta go pet
all
each of them. I don't know. It's super stupid, but it's like I feel bad if I don't. I don't know why. It's really dumb, but I do feel guilty if I try to and be like, I don't need to, and then I've left the screen and been like, nope, got to go back. I don't know what it is. Really dumb. And then along that same line is if I skip dialogue, if I'm talking to a character and I don't want to read anymore, I skip dialogue, I feel guilty. I'm like, I should be talking to this person. Like, I know they're not real people and they don't care, but I feel bad. It's stupid. I don't know why.
No, I totally get that, dude. These games would not be fun if you couldn't feel a little bit of emotion, a little bit of empathy for the NPCs. Like,
that's right.
That's what's good about it. The last one I just had was that I don't clean out my PC enough. I look over it, it's right fucking here, and
okay, we don't talk about that.
Let's just not talk about that.
I did just clean mine for the first time in like many months, and it was much needed.
It was pretty bad. That's what makes me feel pretty guilty. Do you have any more, or do you want to move on to dice?
Nope, let's do dice.
All right, let's do some dice.
Dice of Destiny.
All right, Dice of Destiny is this fun little game we play at the end of every episode. We roll a 6-sided dice to see who's going to be responsible for rolling the Dice of Destiny, a 20-sided dice with 20 different game genres assigned to it. We then roll another 6-sided dice to determine how much that person can spend on that game, and then they find a game in that genre for that price. Pick it, play it, and review it. And Peterson recently reviewed or rolled, what was it?
It was a roguelike for $50 or less. So there's not a lot of $50 roguelikes, I'm going to be honest with you. But
right.
So I have already done dice a couple times in a row.
So many times.
I have a lot of games that I'm playing right now for some reason, like a crazy amount of games, and I'm really enjoying it. So when I got dice again, I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. But JD, I found the perfect game. The perfect game for this. And I will give the caveat that it is a roguelite. But same. So I picked a game called and by the way, last week we aired the Evergreen episode, so I'm going to tell you my game selection and do the full review for it because I did beat it. So the game I picked was called Stacklands. Stacklands. And it was it's by Sock Pop Collective. I don't know about that, but they've got a couple little games, actually a bunch of like very simplistic games, and this does fall into that. So Stacklands is a card-based game. It's like a real-time strategy card game.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like you're playing a one-player card game. Like board game by yourself. You even have like a play mat that you play on, and you put cards down, and you put them down in this place, and you're moving them constantly because it is a little bit alive. Every single thing on this is on a card. So you start off by opening a card pack, and it has a villager and a tree and a couple things of food. And to harvest the tree, you just drag the villager card and put it over the tree card. And then it like in an RTS, there's a collection time. So it'll actually have a progress bar, and he collects, and he's collecting wood or whatever, an apple from the tree. And the game is played in days, is the time sequence of this. So each day is a certain amount of time. And you, at the end of each day, you have to feed all of your villagers a certain amount of food. If you don't, they die. The cool thing about this is, and then as you go, you unlock new recipes. So, I've got all these carrots, and then I just opened up a card pack that had manure. Well, there's like a certain recipe you can do to put together to build a garden, and then you can consistently plant berries or carrots or apples, whatever, in your garden. And then however long that takes, that card's kind of out of commission, but then it'll give you a bunch of that resource, whatever. So there's a lot of strategy to it. You're unlocking recipes. You're unlocking new card packs. You do that by selling cards that you have. You can only have a certain amount of cards on your playmat at a time. And you can increase that by building a building called a shed, right? You build a shed, and then you just kind of put that off to the side, and it says it increases how many cards you can have. But you're just constantly doing this, right? Because it's all on a timer, because they're like days. So you're trying to get as much in as you can before the day is over. Mm-hmm. You have to have enough food to feed your villagers. You turn your villagers into warriors, because then every now and then you get attacked by a goblin or a giant cockroach or a rat or whatever. You get attacked, and your villagers fight them off. And again, you put your villager on the goblin card, and they will just auto battle until dead, right? If all of your villagers die, you lose. And then you start over. You unlock new card packs. You unlock new recipes. Once you've unlocked a recipe, you always have it unlocked. That's what makes it a roguelite. But it's so simplistic, and I can tell you the reviews on this game, it just came out on the 8th of April, and the reviews are overwhelmingly positive. It's 1,800 reviews on Steam, almost 1900, and it is a good time for a short time. I played it for, let's see, I played it for 9.7 hours, and I've beaten the game, and like I don't have any desire to play it again because it's not like runs where you're like, oh, I beat it, now I'm gonna now do this run. Like once you beat it, like you've beaten it, and it's not going to change. The game's exactly the same, going through again, and it is kind of anticlimactic when you beat it. And so, but that's not the point. The point is it's just fun to get to that point. Like I said, I played this for almost 10 hours, and I played it for almost 10 hours straight. Like this was like one day essentially of me playing this game, maybe 2 days.
Oh my God.
I just like couldn't stop. It was so much fun to play. But yeah, so this was a perfect Dice of Destiny game for me at this point because it was fast, easy, and the best part, JD, this game is $5 on Steam.
You were right. That is the perfect Dice of Destiny game. It's like Vampire Survivors level.
Yes, it was perfect for where I'm at with gaming because, like I said, I'm playing a bunch of other games. I didn't want to sink 40 hours into another like Nier Automata, right? I wanted to just like play a game and beat it, and I did. And that's Stacklands. So my overall review of this game is if you enjoy card-based games at all, if you enjoy roguelikes at all, this is a buy at any price. The price is $5. It's an easy buy for me. Like I said, I got 10 hours out of it, and I don't regret any of that, right? And so $5 for 10 hours, I'll do that any day. So this was a great buy. Good Dice of Destiny game. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's done, and it's over. So good game. Stacklands, definitely check out.
Okay, that means we've got to re-roll. And I'm doing it. I'm putting Jenna back on the dice.
Put her back on there.
We're keeping you down at 1.
I'm just 1.
Debuting an updated Dice of Destiny. We've cleaned up our list. We've made it a little bit tighter, and we've added some funky options in case I roll a 1 or a 20.
A nat 1 or a nat 20.
Yeah, we have some fun options. So we'll start to see who's going to play this. I will take a 1-2. Jenna will do 3-4. Peterson will be 5, and a 6 will be a reroll.
Okay.
It's a 4. Is that Jenna?
Jenna, yeah.
Jenna is going to play a dice game.
Oh my God. She's not even here either. This is the best rolling for somebody else.
It doesn't even get a grouse about it. All right, so that's a 9, which is a...
Uh-oh.
It's a sports game. Jenna is going to have to play her very first sports game.
This is what Dice of Destiny was made for.
Yes, absolutely. What Dice Destiny is about is forcing you outside of your comfort zone into something weird
my
you would never play before. And that we'll see how much she can spend. $20.
This is going to be rough. I am so sorry, Jenna. This is going to be
awful. Jenna's got to find a $20 sports game to play for Dice next in a couple weeks here. Okay. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. Have fun telling her.
Yeah, I will. Okay, so that's all we've got to play us out. There's some great music in Nobody Saves the World. Do you want to try that, or is there music in Stacklands?
No.
Okay, well, we're gonna play some tunes from Nobody Saves the World. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. I'm JD, logging off.
This is Peterson going AFK. Peterson Productions. Oh yeah.